Hey guys, it's Holly. So I'm sure a lot of you Harry Potter fans would agree with me that one of the weakest sets of 2021 by far was the Fluffy encounter. And a lot of that came due to not only the fact that just the Hogwarts building was empty, but also that Fluffy felt like sort of a letdown. We had this really beautiful custom molded dog in 2001, and then we got this brick-built Fluffy with a bunch of grey hinge pieces and some heads that are all just mixed up. Overall, it really underwhelmed me, and I wanted to show you guys some really quick and easy things to do in order to make this Fluffy look a bit less awkward in my opinion. Now luckily you only need 3 pieces for this, 2 of which are a lot harder to buy and more expensive than the other one, but I still wanted to show you what I've personally done in order to make my Fluffy look a tiny bit better and make me a bit happier about having him on display. So the first thing I did was actually swap out the tail. Now someone sent this piece along with a couple of other things to my PO box and suggested swapping the tail out with this much longer piece. Now while Fluffy is a bulldog and this short tail does make sense, you know, hypothetically, this brick-built version is very large. This tail looks extremely out of proportion to me, and that was one of my biggest complaints when reviewing the set. So what I've ended up doing and had on my shelf for the longest time is actually this as the tail instead. It's still the same sort of idea, using like a plant piece or like a tooth piece in order to do it, but in proportion it just looks a lot better in my opinion, and it's very, very simple. Chances are you've probably got some lying around in your collection since it is usually given out as a spare piece, so hopefully you can do that for yourself. But the biggest change that I personally did was ordering a bunch of different Fluffy faces. Now personally, when I look at this dog, it really annoyed me, the fact that we had one really great face on the left and one really great face on the right, and then this just weird sort of looking thing in the middle where he's like half winking at me but also like half growling and drooling. It just didn't quite work for me, and I'm not going to be using this Fluffy as a play feature where I can turn it around one side and he's grumpy and turn it around to the other and he's asleep. But I feel like it never worked. This middle face especially looks incredibly awkward. So what I went and did is I went onto Bricklink and actually ordered 2 more of these angry heads. I mean, if you were someone who does a lot of Hogwarts mocks, you could always buy 2 more versions of the set and then just like interiorize sort of the smaller buildings and actually give yourself a proper devil's snare sort of thing as well while you're at it. But more importantly, you get multiple versions of these heads, which you can very easily swap out and just put on these Technic pins, so that way Fluffy is angry all the time and looks a bit better from the front facing sort of thing, which I would much prefer to this really half awkwardly looking growling type of thingy. Now if you preferred Fluffy to be sleeping, you could buy 2 of the sleeping Fluffy heads instead to sort of go along with your third one. Honestly, I feel like it's worth having a set of either. I personally only bought the angry ones because that's what I imagine Fluffy as. I mean, he wasn't asleep in the movie for all too long, so I personally prefer this more angry growling look, but at the end of the day, it is up to you and how you want to display your Fluffy dog. Now keep in mind as well, if you are planning on doing this, it is best to buy these pieces now while the set's still on shelves. They've been out for a while, the sets have gone on sale. The parts on average will be cheaper to purchase now than they will be in a couple of years time. I think mine were about like maybe $2.50, $3 each, so it was pretty expensive but nothing too major, and I feel like it really paid off because now I can actually have Fluffy facing the front on my display and looking angry and actually looking a bit more like I remember him from the film. Now in an ideal world, I'd be able to swap out those grey ball joints to a brown or a black, but unfortunately those pieces don't exist, so this is the best I'm gonna get without changing anything too major or creating a brand new mock for Fluffy. So I thought I would share this with you guys and see what you think, and in case you were thinking about doing this for yourself, hopefully this sort of gives you a better idea of what it will look like. But anyway guys, that's all from me for today, so if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below, and until next time, I'll see you later.